It takes a second sometimes. Can we first please talk about, is it working on my computer, Jade?
Yep.
Can we first please look at, so we're going to talk about a news article today that apparently are showing this exodus from San Diego County in California. But can we please talk about how many ads there are?
Look at this chick's face.
What is she pointing at? Is that a zit deal? Because it says Capitol Hill gives homeowners 55 plus.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with someone.
What in the world is going on there?
The web editor on this particular site is
Someone screwed that up.
failing.
Yeah, so it's pretty much ads everywhere, and that's just how it works now if you want to look at the news. It gets down here, it gets really fun down here. This is where it gets really fun.
This actually looks like a fake news site.
Kinda, huh? Look at all this. And then down here, there's more sponsored content, and then the news stories. Goodness gracious, more ads down here. So anyhow, no smack on ABC 10 News.
Yeah,
But
sorry.
just showing you what's up there. We're just
Sorry,
on their
not sorry.
website. This actually was a good story, in my opinion, and some really interesting news. So we have been seeing, and I'll actually pull it up here so you can see the exact, this is the particular quote right here that we're going to talk about. Because for years and years, we were gaining about 10,000 people in San Diego County per year. This may have been a decade or more. We were gaining over 10,000 people a year in San Diego, meaning the number of people who left and the number of people who came, there was a plus delta of 10,000.
Absolutely.
In here, we're seeing massive amounts of people. This is according to census data. Massive amounts of people fleeing the state of California, and that also is including San Diego County. So as it says here, quote, in San Diego County, there is an apparent exodus with a net loss of nearly 16,000 people in the year ending July 2017. The previous year, the loss was 8,300. So that loss doubles year over year.
Right.
So we finally have a net negative population situation 2 years in a row, and the trajectory is bad because you're seeing twice as many people in the last year as the previous have left San Diego County. Now, that sounds like a small amount, and it is when you have 3 million people.
Right.
The net loss in California, 138,000 over that same last year, fiscal year period.
Well, and they're actually calling it, across California, they're calling it an exodus. Like,
Yeah.
you just said that, right?
Yeah, mass exodus.
A mass exodus.
People are leaving.
I'll give you one guess as to why.
Okay. No, why don't you just tell me?
Is that why we're here today?
Yes. That's why you're here.
It's absolutely due to affordability. You know, the number one reason is our housing crisis. We're legitimately in a housing crisis. So if you're out there and you're shopping for a home, you're wondering, why can't I get my offer accepted? Why is there no inventory? Why is there so little for me to choose from? Why am I having a hard time trying to buy? It's not just you, it's not just your price range. Even if you were able to up your price range a little bit, the bottom line is, across all pricing levels, we have a severe housing shortage, and you know, it's creating an affordability problem. That, on top of just the cost of living in California in general, is forcing a lot of people out. So you know, if you look at the data, really the majority of the people that are leaving are people who are making $55,000 and under. And what's really interesting is we actually do have people moving in. There's a significant amount of people moving in, to contrast the people that are moving out. The people that are moving in are making well over $100,000 a year. They're highly educated. I think the 3 highest states that they said they're coming from are Illinois, New Jersey, and New York.
Huh. That's interesting.
So
'cause
other
I know
areas
someone who just moved here from New York.
You're kidding.
Well, yeah, there's definitely people moving in.
Oh, yeah.
This is just the difference.
Oh, my goodness. There's a
difference
huge
between-
difference. And what you're seeing, too, is along with affordability, you're also seeing people who, well, we have retirees who are cashing out. They're like, all right, I have been here. I want to go into my sunset years comfortably. I'd like to have a low monthly payment to, you know, something that I could afford off my Social Security, or, you know, their retirement plans, that their pension. You're not going to be able to do that in Southern California.
Much more difficult.
Right.
Unless you have a paid-for house.
Unless you have a house.
That's why
that's
we
been
encourage
completely
home
paid for.
ownership, because if you have a paid-for house, you're going to be okay no matter where you are.
Absolutely.
That's the big difference. If you have a paid-off house in Arizona and a paid-off house in San Diego, your recurring expenses are pretty much the same. Now, you may pay more taxes in certain states than others, but when you're talking about really making a comparison, it's going to be really close. However, if you don't have a paid off home, if you are making a monthly payment, then you're going to have usually a pretty big difference between like California and some of these other states.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really neat is if you do have a home that's completely paid off, you could actually take that income that you're making from our really high rentals, and you can live completely off of your real estate investment.
You know, there's a lot of crazy things going on out there, and a lot of people are interested in Detroit, investing in Detroit.
I've actually heard that.
The low, you can buy a home for 20 grand.
It's dirt cheap.
Also Ferguson, Missouri. I spoke with a guy at length yesterday who's buying properties left and right in Ferguson, Missouri.
Where's Ferguson, Missouri?
It's north of St. Louis. It's where
gotcha.
Trayvon Martin was killed, I believe.
Yeah.
I think that might be, I can't remember if that's the correct name, but it was where there was a bad police shooting. Right. And there was riots and there was a lot of problems for a while.
I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
Yeah, and
so Idaho, I've heard.
Yeah, there's a lot of places where stuff's really cheap and people are going, okay, let's buy this up.
Right.
Very similar to the last time we were at the peak. So here's the question. The question we need to try to answer today is this just a normalization of population for San Diego County? Are we just seeing, hey, we grew so many years in a row that at some point it has to take a breather. We've got too many. We're just normalizing here. Or is this a sign that something is about to change?
I'm under the impression that it's more of a normalization. I hope that it's not a sign that things are going to change. I mean, the bottom line is California is a leader. California, you know, we have so many progressive tech companies. We have so many progressive just different industries out here. I don't think that it's going to be a sign that, you know, it's over, it's time to leave. There are too many attractive qualities to California. I think it's definitely an adjustment. Some people are actually calling it a statewide gentrification.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is really interesting.
A statewide gentrification.
Statewide gentrification.
All right.
That, you know, because of the people that are moving in with higher incomes and, you know, higher education, people that are moving out that just can't afford it, they're saying that is what is happening here in California. But what's really interesting is, you know, where are these people going to, if these people could just go ahead and call me when they sell their house, that would be great. Because we really need some listings out there.
We do, but I don't think a lot of homeowners, well, there are definitely homeowners who are leaving the state. But I think, like you said, it's mostly not homeowners who are leaving the state because rent's really high. They keep going up.
Well, people are following employment, too. California is actually one of the least helpful states for businesses.
Yes, a lot of impediments, which is one of my concerns. So I'm going to be bearish on this with you here, because I do think it is a normalization is what has caused the movement. However, I think the momentum that it's going to build up is going to potentially cascade further into a movement. And the reason is because I just keep hearing people saying they're leaving.
They just can't afford it.
I'm leaving. You know what? We've done the numbers. I can make the same, doing what I do, I can make the same amount of money in Arizona. I can make the same amount of money in Vegas, but the housing prices are 1/3 as much.
And our state government is actually living in fear of this right now. They are slowly, albeit, they're slowly working towards some different regulations, some different bills that are trying to change the affordability, because they are afraid that people are going to exodus out of here.
Well, I can tell you how to fix that. It's really simple. The impediments to business, the additional taxes and fees that are that cascades down to wages. It just does.
Right.
So, you know, the reason why you're seeing certain places, like, okay, so for example, we just used Vegas.
Yes.
Or let's call it Nevada. So the state of Nevada, a lot of people go to Vegas when they go there, but in that whole state, taxes are less. The business impediments are not there. It's very pro-business. Same thing with Texas.
Right.
So that's the reason why
Texas
someone looks
is a big
at
one.
Texas is a lot of people are going to Texas.
The number one state that has taken our residents.
Correct. And the reason is because it's so pro-business, and because whatever it is you do, whether you're a nurse, teacher, whatever, you can probably make the same or more money in Texas than you can here, but you can buy a house for $250,000 and it's going to be a nice house. So here, you know, getting a condo,
so it's only going to be on like an acre, and you know,
it's going to be sick.
some stables.
So at some point, people look at that
3,000
and they
square
go,
feet, 4,000 square feet.
you know what? I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna choose that life, even
Then
though.
you have to deal with the weather. Here's the bottom line.
But that's it, though.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but it's been gray for the last couple days. I mean, my point is, the weather here is great.
Right.
The beach is amazing. The water is amazing. I love California, but it's a little ass backwards when it comes to the way that it operates. If the idea is to make this a land that flourishes,
Absolutely.
it's not operating that way. And so when you saw that number for this state of California, 138,000 people net loss in the last year, 138,000. That's a lot of people. And you could look at that and go, well, you know, that's potentially people who maybe we didn't want them. Maybe they were bad for us.
Right.
Maybe they didn't really have any skills. Send them somewhere else. But I can tell you that that idea doesn't work long term.
Right, and when you're actually losing businesses, when you're losing employers, that's the scary part.
Well, those are customers.
Right.
So you know that's what I mean. Like you could say that once. Oh well, we didn't need them. They were. But the next year you lose another 138,000. You're gonna say the same thing. The next year you lose another 138,000. Are you still gonna be saying, yeah, get the hell out of here?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
The Bay Area, they're kind of saying that right now.
Is it kind of Is it kind of like surfing? Jade always says, "Don't try surfing; it sucks," or something like that.
Yeah.
Or surfing sucks. Don't try it. Right? Is that how it goes? Jade?
Every single time there's a shark sighting on the news, my husband's like, they're just trying to clear out the water.
Just trying to clear it out.
I'm like, no, there's a physical shark that's out there eating people. What are you talking about?
That's why surfers are always posting like, yeah, another shark sighting. They don't want you to surf.
It's
So,
true.
do we want people to leave California? Do we want to try to keep it for ourselves? Or is it the case that, you know, we need people here? And I think we need people here.
We absolutely need people here. And
I don't think people leaving here is a good thing. Especially because you also have to take into account just the normal population growth. I mean, how many people had babies here? They're staying here. That, you know, we should see population grow even in a situation where where we do have a small exodus. To have a net loss of 138,000,
Right.
including all that, to me that's a pretty alarming number.
I think that what the government needs to do here, the local government, is to allow for employers to give tax breaks and to pass on the savings to their great employees.
100%. Well, there's a lot of ways you could stimulate, you know, wage growth, because that's what you really need wage growth.
Yeah, we've had 75% increase since 2000 in the cost of living, but only 30% wage increase.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
And that is a result of a high tax, anti-business
Right.
legislative body. That's essentially what you get.
true.
You see that, you know, costs of things go up because businesses have to pass these costs along to consumers, and wages go down because businesses have to pass these costs or lack of money onto the employees. That's the dichotomy that happens. That gap there that you're talking about between the 70 and the 30%, that's government.
Right. Absolutely.
That's government. So I mean, you know, and this isn't supposed to be a political rant here, but I'm just telling you this is what the results are.
Yeah.
When the government gets in and starts telling you to do all these things, and they start charging you fees, and they start mandating you can only do things a certain way.
So let's go
Here you
pro
go.
business. Let's go
We
pro
need to be
business, California.
Pro wage growth.
Pro wage growth.
And
Absolutely.
anything you can do to stimulate, like even if there were, and you know, I'm sitting here saying we have too much government, but then proposing the idea of a law. But you know, at the same time, if you had a rule in there, I mean, the tax code, so it wouldn't necessarily be law, but in the tax code, if you could just say, hey, listen, if you have a lot of high wage earning employees at your business, we're going to give you some tax breaks.
And long-standing employees.
Yeah, maybe long-standing high wage earning employees. So for example, if you have a certain number of employees making over a certain amount of money, we're going to give you an additional tax break. Because by the way, we're getting a lot of tax revenue from you guys.
Yes.
If these are all W-2 employees making a lot of money, we're making bank.
Right.
I mean, if you're a W-2 employee, you just look at your check and you know there's a lot of money that's going away.
The California Franchise State Tax Board is.
Franchise Tax Board.
They are.
Ugh, FTB.
Yeah, that is.
Every time I get something from them in the mail, it makes me just, ugh.
It's true.
And it happens every
They are.
day.
They are no joke too. They are
Oh, no, yeah.
way heavier than the IRS.
They are
They
stout,
will hunt
bro.
you down if you turn around in your car. That's probably the FTB right behind you.
Try not to pay your LLC tax.
Just try.
One time. See what happens.
They are on it. But you know what? Water, city services, state services, nah. FTB, they're right there. Got you.
They're like all ninjas. They just hide it. Here's the
It's
thing.
true.
I get something from them all the time because Franchise Tax Board handles a lot of things like employment taxes and they're on the state taxes.
Right.
And you have the EDD, which is a branch underneath that, which does all the payroll stuff. So I'm hearing from these people on a regular basis about forms that need to be filled out and all this crap. You would not believe, if you're not an employer, all the BS you have to go through. And then they make you pay for it.
Yes.
It's like, well, I need you to do work and I need you to write us a check. Excuse me? It's crazy.
And then we'll take our time with what you need,
yeah.
but
If we
you
owe
give
you
us our
money, don't expect it anytime soon. But if you owe us,
immediately.
we're going to need a routing number.
So the interesting thing is, how is this going to affect real estate?
That's the question, because is it a good thing? Will it help people be able to get housing more easily? Will rents come down? I want to hear what you think first.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's always, demand. That's what commands the cost. So if we have an increase of the exodus, yes, hopefully we'll be able to even out our pricing a little bit. I just don't think it's going to be enough to affect it the way it needs to.
You think this is a drop in the bucket?
It's a drop in the bucket.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
When it comes to affecting real estate, I mean, we are so in need. We're 100,000 units under statewide than what we actually need. I mean, that's a lot. So we're going to need to increase our exodus.
But isn't pricing sort of based on that, though? You know what I mean? Like that shortage helps to drive the pricing. So if we ever did normalize, pricing would go way down.
Well, we saw it happen before. I just don't see it happening the way it did, in our last recession.
Well, here's a couple of little red flags.
Okay.
So a couple of places that I know of that are for rent, because people have showed me and have responded to other segments we've done, are still for rent. Some of them in really desirable areas. Been for rent for 2 months.
Are they market price? Are they a little high?
Seem reasonable.
Okay.
Also seen 2 properties recently.
Seem reasonable with our PTSD that we have on pricing?
They seem reasonable.
Okay.
Seem reasonable. And
currently reasonable.
Currently reasonable, yes. But vacant,
Okay.
nonetheless,
Right.
for multiple months. You don't see that really happening with rentals, but to me it's kind of a sign that people have just said, you know what, that's too much.
People are finally throwing their hands up in the air and saying, forget it. I'm just going to stay where I am.
That usually means we're at the end of the road, right?
Right. I do agree that.
Also seen a couple properties priced recently and had a couple different people reach out to me and say, hey, I need help promoting a property. I've looked at it and gone, seems like a pretty good deal. What's going on? So I do think that, when the mindset shifts, if rents come down, a lot of what is driving prices in real estate right now, or maintaining prices in real estate, is the rents are high, so rent to own makes sense, and a lot of people don't want to spend that much on rent, and also lack of inventory. If we have rents come down, in other words, if we're saying, hey, you know what, these people who are leaving, they make under $55,000 a year, there's, it's only 10,000 of them, whatever, they're renters, but if rents come down, then that would, in my opinion, lead to prices going down in real estate. Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of buyers out there who are really hoping that is true, and I agree. I mean, we have to reach a plateau at some point. Maybe we are finally there. We'll see. Our estimate for what we're supposed to increase this year is like 2%. So I would say that's pretty close to plateauing if you look at our past few years. Now, I would really like to see the price adjustment change a little bit more dramatically.
Really?
I would. I mean, we have a lot of, here's the thing. A lot of agents will say, okay, let's keep driving it up, 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 up. It's just not the reality of it. Everything is in a cycle. Everything needs to go up and down. There are buyers, there are sellers. We've had a long-standing seller's market. We need to give a chance to the buyers and the investors. I think that people are in a great place to hang on to their money. I don't think the economy is doing poorly. So I don't think it's going to be a recession when we do have an adjustment like last time. But yeah, I think that there's a good amount of people who are ready for a breather.
I think there's a lot of buyers who would love to see prices go down.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I just wonder if they will be able to pull the trigger or not, because it's hard to do. It's harder to do.
I mean,
than
it's
it
just like
sounds
gambling. You just don't know, when do you stop? When do you?
That's the thing. So like when the stock market's going down, it's super red, and people have been sitting around waiting. They haven't invested because I'm waiting for it to come down. Now here it comes, but it's coming at you like a bull,
Right,
man.
right.
And you're looking at it going,
Like, I don't trust it.
okay, I'm supposed to buy, but I'm gonna wait till tomorrow because it was really red today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait for tomorrow.
It's true.
And then you wait for tomorrow, and it's red again, and you go, see, I was right. I was right to wait. I'm gonna wait again. So you wait again, and then that day it goes up
And you're
a
like,
bunch.
no, I missed it.
And you go, oh man, okay, well I'll wait. The next time it's down, then I'll buy.
Yeah.
And then it's up a big, huge again the
Right.
next day, and then up big, huge again the next day, and you missed it.
Right.
And that's the only thing that I worry about with people, is that if we do see an opportunity like we saw, to buy stocks, maybe it was a few weeks ago, we saw a big down day, great opportunity to buy Facebook. The data breach came out, and
Yeah, that was huge.
everyone got really
It's a
negative.
huge drop for
Yeah,
Facebook.
huge
what,
drop.
What was it? What was the percent? Do
I
you know?
think it was $25 on a 195 basis. It was like more than 10%.
That was quite a bit.
So you see a more than 10% drop in the Facebook stock. If you're ever looking to buy it, that's the time to buy it. So it's hard to do. It's hard to pull the triggers. You're like, oh man, data breach. Oh, they're done. No, they're not. People forget about it in 90 days.
But there are people who are in need. They are in need of real estate, and they've been waiting years to make a move. So the question is, what about the people who need to sell to buy? They have been sitting on a great market to sell. I've actually been advising a lot of my clients, if you can sell and find somewhere comfortable for you to stay until the market adjusts, do it. Take that step. Sell while it's high.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of multi-generational families right now. It's just the affordability, the cost of living. It's the way it is.
You mean multiple generations living together?
Multiple generations living together in one home. So, if they have the opportunity, say they've been sitting on a condo, they're sitting in there with their 2 kids, they really want to make a move, but they just can't afford to buy up to the next step, sell. Sell your place, move in with your parents for a little while.
Yeah, if you have some tax-free profit, I would highly recommend taking it off the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Right-
think that
right
it's
here,
time.
Right here, while it's still hot. It's always good to sell when it's hot.
Right.
It's always good to sell too early versus too late.
Absolutely. And even though you say there are places sitting on the market, I believe that the places sitting on the market either have, some sort of a one-off, or they're priced just a little too high. The places that are flying off the market right now are priced correctly.
Appropriately. I will nod at that, because the homes that I saw were priced appropriately, but they had been reduced to an appropriate price.
Right. You can't chase the market right
And
now.
that's not good.
No. This is a market where people are going, why is that still on the market? Why has that come down so many times? And they'll get you. This is not a market where you can chase. You have to come in the market and the correct price, and you will sell quickly.
Let me ask you this, because it's always been sort of a red flag for me, and I've advised people in this direction. If an agent tells you it's okay, let's price it here and see what happens, and if we don't get any offers in the first few weeks, we'll just reduce the price.
Right.
That's a bad
It's a
strategy.
huge red flag.
It's a really bad strategy,
Yeah.
right? So if an agent's telling you that, most likely they don't know what they're doing, because that is
I was just going to say that's
not the way to go about it.
inexperience.
Not the way to go about it. Especially what I've seen recently, which is like very small price reductions very quickly.
Oh my goodness.
Like within a month,
That is like my pet peeve right now.
we're going from 525
2
to
weeks,
519.
2 weeks, and they'll drop it like 7,000. You're like, oh my God, I already know what a deal with that seller and that agent is going to be like. I already know. It's going to be a giant pain. They're not going to want to do any repairs. They're going to try to throw termite on the buyer. I mean, you already know what they're going to nickel and dime in a market where they're making a huge profit. And then you come in and you're like, oh, they owe like $100,000 on this house. What?
Yeah, this is crazy.
What is wrong with these people?
So I mean, that's the thing though. Like it's true. And I think that's also a sign that we're maybe at that plateau.
Right.
When the buyers have figured out that, you know what, I'm not going to pay you that much.
Yeah.
That's too much.
They're putting their foot down.
They've said, you know what, I'm done with the run up. I'm done with being that guy. You're going to have to come in.
So it's time. We're plateauing.
Sell
your home with me.
I think that is a good idea to sell your
No,
home, and I
it's
also
true.
think it's a good idea to sell your home with Melissa.
That's right.
This Exodus. Oh, so
it
you have a
is.
quiz for me?
I do
Are we
have a
gonna
quiz
finish with
for
the quiz
you.
today? Okay.
We are.
This is usually a millennial quiz. She likes to show off how much hipper she is than I am, and what an old man
No,
I
this
am.
is teaching. We're teaching.
You're teaching
I'm
me.
actually, you know what? I've been consistently impressed with how cool you are.
Let's see if I can maintain that today.
Okay.
What do we got?
All right. So today we're doing abbreviations, and
That's not my strong suit.
it's not. He's like a voice to texter. He just told me.
Yeah.
So the abbreviations are not his thing, but maybe with dealing with your daughter, maybe something
Perhaps.
here and there.
Perhaps.
Okay. So what
right.
about
First one.
first one here? This one's it's appropriate. So IDK.
I don't know.
Good. See.
I got that one.
All right. What
yes.
about?
I also know LMK. Let me know.
Oh, nice. All right. Okay, so we're going to ease into this then.
Okay, all
Good.
right.
What about SMH?
Shaking my head.
Yeah.
I have to do that all the time on Facebook.
See, you know more. You know more than you think you do. Okay, so these ones are a little bit tougher. This is IG. I think you know what though?
IG?
You're doing really well. No. So it's MCM or WCW.
Oh boy.
That's an IG abbreviation.
These are IG abbreviations?
Yeah.
Instagram
Uh-huh.
is IG.
Yeah.
So I get that
What's
one.
MCM and WCW? It's
M-
okay. It's Man Crush Monday.
Okay. Man Crush Monday. That's a thing?
Yeah. You've never seen somebody be like, oh, this is my MCM.
No, I haven't.
Oh, well.
Now, is that just for men to say? Like, this is
No,
my man crush? Or,
like, you know,
because if you're a woman, wouldn't you
Tanya
just
would
say
be
it's
like,
a crush?
oh, my MCM, and post a picture of you.
Oh, okay. So it's not just a crush of like a Hollywood crush. It's
No.
your actual crush.
No, but it could be a Hollywood crush.
Okay.
But
This is complicated.
this,
And WCW is Women Crush Wednesday.
yeah. And what about TBT?
Throwback Thursday.
Yeah, see, it's right along the same lines.
Gotcha.
Okay, how about IMO? I feel like you've used this one before.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I like the IMHO.
Oh, okay.
In my humble opinion.
I
want
feel
to
like we've
tell you. I
texted
need
this
to tell you
before.
how humble I am before I absolutely rant.
Okay, what about IRL? It's a little bit tougher.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
In real life.
In real life.
In real life. As
I feel like I
opposed
should have
to
known that one.
social media life.
Okay, so in real life. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I follow BuzzFeed on Instagram. I feel like I should know this.
Yeah, it's okay. Last one. OOTD.
Oh man.
OOTD.
One of the damnedest. I don't know.
Outfit of the day.
Outfit of the day.
I feel like with all of your colors and like ties and socks, like this is something that we need to utilize.
That's true.
OOTD.
OOTD.
I'm really proud of you.
Hashtag.
That was awesome.
I did decent.
You did really well.
I got like 80%. That's like a
See?
B minus.
You knew way more than you thought you did.
We should start posting these quizzes somewhere.
You know what? We really should.
That would be epic.
We should post them and see and have people take them
Ahead of time.
ahead of time.
See how they did.
That's what we're doing next time.
Let's do that next time.
Okay, done.
Awesome. Well,
Deal.
there's an exodus going on in California and in San Diego County.
Are you part of it?
What will happen? Yeah, are you going to be part of it? I'd love to hear from you. If you are, let us know what your plans are, where you're headed. And you know what? Stay classy, San Diego.